And then I'm going to come down and start at the head and go up, but I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to get close. Let me zoom in on that so you can see it a little better. And this is going to become a big twisty raindrop too, where it's rounded on one side, pointy on the other. You can erase everything inside that shape if it helps you to see what you're doing here. And now we just have to connect these shapes up. So you can see we're going to make a little connecting line right from this tiny twisty raindrop to the big twisty raindrop. Just going to connect up those shapes. And we get to do the whole thing again in mirror opposite. So this time our raindrop is going to be that way. Yours doesn't look right?
Doesn't look like your, no. I'll try again. I'll keep trying.
Here's another way you can do it. From your big twisty raindrop, you can make the connector first.
Okay.
And then connect it up. That'll work too.
Trace over yours and maybe my brain will get the motion.
So we had this. You got this shape, right? Your twisty raindrop.
No, I erased it all.
Oh, you erased it all. All right. Well, join us in this other horn. And then you can go back.
Yeah, so I know I'm just tracing over yours. So that'll give me an idea. Okay.
Okay. So then on the other side, I want the horns to be about the same size, right? Or the same height. And I'm going to have my raindrop twist to the inside. Rounded side. Pointing a little bit to the right. Then I'll have my big twisting raindrop. Erase the lines on the inside. And you can just flow right from one shape into the other. Or you just draw your own horns, whatever horns you like. That's the wonders of doing dragons. You can make them all kinds of shapes and sizes. After we have the horns, I'm going to make this great big floppy ear. If you don't like floppy ears, you can do pointy ears or no ears at all. And then I'm going to add a little bump for the eyebrow of that eye that we can't see. I'll add a little snout. Little nose. Little watermelon seed for the nostril. I'll add a nice big smile that kind of points back up to the horn. And I'll just erase my original circle out from there. We don't need that anymore. And when you smile, your cheeks get pushed up right into your bottom eyelid. So I'm going to put the bottom eyelid curving right there. And a great big eye. Actually, it's another twisty raindrop shape. And this one, the dragon's looking to the right, but you can have it look up or to the left or down, anywhere you want to. Don't color yours in because it'll mess with the paint, but I'm just going to color it in to show you what it looks like when he's looking left versus when looking right. Do the one you like the best. Then I'm going to draw a couple of little claws hanging onto the edge of the teacup. So I want to think of this being round and curving around that teacup edge. I like to make the middle toe the biggest. Classic dragon shapes there. You can see I'm just curving it, rolling it over that edge of the teacup. Get your kneaded eraser or an eraser that has a tiny tip so you can erase out those lines. Some of you might have enough room to add in this other arm. Some of you might not, depending on how close you put your head to the edge of the teacup. So for mine, I think I can fit in a little bit of this other hand. There's one curving claw. This one right here. And I might see a second curving claw, but I can't see the third because there's the edge of my teacup, so that's okay. If I could, I would draw the whole arm like this just to show you. And I'll draw the chin and the lower lip here, jaw. And depending on how much space you have, you might see a lot of the dragon's body or maybe just a little bit. But I'm just going to start at the head here, draw right through the ear, and curve around in a little bit of an oval again. And then erase out the ear. That's going to be the center line. If you were going to make spikes on this dragon, this is where the spikes would go. So if that's the top of his back, I'm going to draw another curve for the side of the body. So this is the top of his spine right there, and then this part's the side of the body. And if that body kept going down to the tail through the head, I'm not actually drawing, but I'm just going to pretend it's going right through the head. It would come out the other side by the nose. And I'm going to do a little bit of a twisty shape just like the horns, just so that it all matches. I'll do a little twisty raindrop type shape for the end of the tail. Of course, you can do whatever kind of tail you want. You might want to do the kinds that have a spade at the end, or you might want to do the kind of tails that have a heart at the end, or have spikes at the end, or have fur at the end. You can do whatever kind of tail you want. I'm just going to do a little twisty tail with no fancy things on the end. A little twisty raindrop shape. And then after I erase out my original circle, all my plot lines, you can see that the dragon is halfway or more than halfway submerged in the T. So I have to think about if the T was at this level, kind of like he has a mustache, it would go around his face. So it's going to curve up a little bit, this T. And then it would have to curve around the ear. And this T would go around the nose. We want to keep this all very short and squashed and flat. I don't want to make a curve like a C that's really tall. We're making curves like this. Very flat, very short. Same thing on the tail. Wherever the tail is poking out of the T, we're going to make a very squashed little oval, little ripples in the T. If you want one of his claws or maybe his whole front foot coming out of the T, you can put ovals around there too. They have to be very squashed. Very, very squashed. Very ripply. And that's going to be it for the drawing. The designs are actually easier to do straight with colored pencils or paints or whatever you're using. So if you have a kneading eraser, go ahead and get some of that extra graphite off so it doesn't mix with your paints. I'll darken my camera so you can still see my drawing. So last week we did gold. We found out how to do gold with orange, yellow, light brown, dark brown. So now we're going to take that gold pattern and we're going to apply it to a design. So I'm going to start out just like we did last week with a stripe right around the top of gold. I'm going to get my yellow pencil and I'm going to make a yellow stripe all the way around the top of my teacup.
Betsy, I'm having a hard time defining body and tail under the T. Did I miss a step?
It's actually not
got the body.
that important. You can just do this outside oval right here. This is the important one right here.
Right.
And then when it comes over to the tail. Yeah, that's really the only one you need. And then the tail coming out the other side. It looks the nicest if your tail could theoretically match up with the body in one smooth line. If they're like off kilter, they'll look like they're two different dragons.
Yeah.
And I'll get my darkest brown and color in about half right over the top of that yellow stripe. Get my orange and just drop in a little bit by the yellow. My lighter brown and my dark brown again. If you don't have all the browns and you can't get orange and yellow, you can do this if you have different lightness and darknesses of the same color. So if you have like a really dark green, a kind of dark green, a green and a light green, you can substitute them in. I know Stephanie was not having the same colors. I think last time we did gold, so I'm sorry you'll have to struggle through it again. But
no, I'm gonna go get my
your actual watercolors. All right.
Yeah,
that works too. So the edges are going to be nice and dark. And then we go to light brown, orange, yellow, and right back to the dark brown again. That's going to be our pattern. If it looks too dull over here and you don't like all of this dark, you can add a little of the lighter brown or orange and mix it in over on this edge here. That works too. So that one stripe along the top, I'm going to pause here so you guys can catch up, but that one stripe along the top, just so you know, is going to be this one stripe across the top, and we need another one for the bottom. So I'm going to do that exact same thing, leaving some space in the middle. And you've got a great big teacup, hopefully, so you can have a lot of space in the middle. Curving around that teacup. That means the line is going to go up at the ends, up at that end. A little thicker in the middle, skinnier at the ends. Same thing. If we were doing this on computer, we just do copy paste.
There are some advantages to the computer, that's for sure.
Right. I'm going to pause here about 3 more minutes and then we'll start on our design. If you want the whole rim to be golden, don't use any yellow. We're just going to take the orange and kind of opposite, kind of diagonal. I'll stick in some orange, light brown, and the rest will be the dark brown. Just about 1 more minute and then I'll do the next step. So now we're going to get into the trickier part. How do we make this gold and a design? Basically what we're going to do is whatever color is on the top and bottom, that's the color we're going to be using for the design. So when I'm doing this side, we're going to start on this side where it's easy because it's all dark brown. But once we get here, I'm going to switch to yellow. Once we get here, I'm going to switch to orange. I'm going to switch to light brown, right? So we're going to start on the easy side. And you can see this design is very simple. It's just a little backwards letter L. So let's start way over here on the edge of the teacup, and we're going to make this skinny one first. So I'm just going to color about halfway down. And I have to curve. I got to follow these curves that I have on top and on bottom. Color that in. And you want to pay attention to the white area that you're making just as much as the dark area that you're making. Positive and negative space.
Hi, Kitten. Hi, buddy.
Aw. Always have to spotlight appearances by kitties.
Kitty standing in my watercolors.
Oh dear, yeah.
Well, he's so far so
Oh,
good. Don't step down, little buddy. It's nice to see you. Yeah, that's not edible. Such a help.
So there's the first shape we just did there. I'm going to leave a little bit of a white space and then start my next one. So over here, leave some white space. My next one comes down. going to make a little rectangle coming down. About halfway down. And whatever direction the top and the bottom are in, that's the direction I'm going to use for the horizontal part. The foot of the L. And remember, you're shaping this white part just as much as your dark part. So we want the white to be fairly similar. Of course, it won't be perfect. Nobody's perfect. That's what we're thinking about when we're making these lines.
This is what happens in Zoom class, kitties and dogs.
Oh, kitties and puppies. Here we go. We'll have a little
Yes,
puppy cameo too.
Puppy cam.
I know. You can't sit on my, I can't do this with you sitting on my lap. Sorry. You want to sit behind? Okay.
We always have lots
I
of
know you're tired.
explanations too. Thankfully, the
Maybe
cat in my
Zoom.
room is sleeping.
The rest of the kids are, but he's younger.
I'm going to do the same thing about halfway down, make a rectangle. Looking at that white shape and my dark shape. Following my curve around. If you happen to already be in the yellow area before me, time to switch to yellow. Your top and bottom stripes are going to tell you what color you're going to be using. Now that I'm heading into the color changing zone, I'm going to do it in yellow, just like before I did the whole stripe in yellow and then colored the darker colors on top. I can do that here too. Start with yellow. Sorry if it's harder to see. And part of this design is still in the dark area, so I can take my dark pencil and just make half of that design dark. The tip of it's already in the orange area, so I'll get my orange and color in just as much as the top and bottom. When I do my next one, I can see I'm already going to be in my light brown area. So I'll grab my light brown, make my rectangle, go about halfway down. Follow those curves around the teacup. And I'm already back into the dark area, so I can color in just the foot of my design with a little bit of my dark brown. And I'll finish it off with my dark brown pencil. Whew.
Neat. I mean, I don't know if it looks like gold, but it's pretty.
Yeah, that's so pretty. If you want to add more gold accents, you can make the bottom of the teacup gold if you like. Get a little more practice in, or just color it a color. That's up to you, your teacup. I'm gonna go ahead and make it gold because gold is pretty.
Me,
Do you have a question, Callista?
what kind of
Comments?
what kind of tea is this in the teacup?
It is Greek mountain tea. I've never heard of it until I started looking up tea flavors. And that one came up. I go, it's kind of a Greek teacup. We'll make Greek mountain tea. I'm going to make the rest of my teacup white. So I'm just going to use my light blue pencil very, very lightly and just color in the edge. Like just the very, very outlines. And I'll use water to move that color around later. I'm going to color in the tea right across my dragon where the dragon is submerged. I'll just color it tea color. Let me darken my camera a little bit so you can see.
So are you coloring over the dragon where he's underwater parts? Yes, I see you are.
Yes, I am.
Where the water line comes, he's tea colored.
And you can color the dragon whatever color you want. I'm going to grab my magenta. And I'm also going to color the body that's underneath the tea. So I'm mixing my pencils. If I were using regular paints, I would do a pass of just the tea color first, and then after that dried, I'd come back and paint over a layer of the dragon color. But since I'm using pencils, I'm just going to layer it like colored pencils and let it mix when I use the water. Color the eye, whatever color you want. And color the horns whatever color you want. Just one tip with the horns. You probably want a darker color in this tiny little connecting piece because it's twisting out of the light. So this one will probably be darker. And then the twisty raindrops are going to be the lighter color. It doesn't matter if you use purple or green or black or chartreuse or maroon. Lighter on the big shapes, darker on the tiny shape. I'm going to use orange. And I don't have a dark orange. What's a Betsy to do? I'm going to grab my light brown or maybe my red and just mix them together. Layer them on top of one another. Or I could just press harder with my orange pencil. Okay, just about ready for some water. I'm going to get my water brush and just start with the dark parts on the edge of the teacup. Come all the way around. Down into my design. Careful of those little dragon fingers. When I get to my light brown, I'm going to rinse out my brush, get rid of all that dark paint that's in it. Add water to that light brown on the design too. Rinse out my brush. Light brown and woo, there's where it mixes in a little bit. Now the orange parts, rinse my brush, yellow. Anytime your orange or the dark brown starts mixing with your yellow, stop right away, rinse out your brush. If you have a dry brush or a little bit of a paper towel, sometimes you can dab up any extra color that went too far. I'll go to the other side of the teacup and do the dark brown on this side. Trying to keep that curve of the teacup as close to my original drawing as I can. It'll probably get a little bit wobbly, but I try to keep it on track. I don't have any music. Let's see what YouTube has for a little instrumental music.
Yeah, some kind of dragon stuff.
Yeah. Let's see if I remember how to share music. Nope, not that.
Oh, even Betsy has to do things every day.
Yeah. That might be a little loud though.
I thought, maybe got Stephanie up there. Oh man. Man, this is harder with a brush than it is with a pencil.
Yeah,
Oh,
especially the mixing. What?
oh.
You don't know
Yeah.
what you're going to get. Well, of course you don't know what you're getting.
I know, but it's not as defined. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, it's more difficult to get the crisp edge.
yeah.
That's what inking is all about. Adding.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, forgot about that. Yeah, our savior.
Yeah. Oops, my dark brown got a little too much in there. While I'm waiting for that teacup to dry, I'll do the details of the dragon, like the eyes, the horns.
My dragon isn't painted yet.
What? What was that?
My dragon hasn't even fought yet. It's coming around. He's just a little spot.
So Betsy, what are you going to do the inside of the teacup rim? Blue?
Yeah, probably a fading
You
blue.
do matte on the outside?
One more time, kind of cut out there.
You answered me.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard something else afterward. If your painting isn't drying fast enough, go grab your hair dryer and just blast that guy a little bit. So on the white portion of my teacup, I'm going to start at the blue edge. And it's almost like I'm erasing it. I'm going to scrub my brush around a little bit, pick up all the pigment. And then I'll keep adding, adding water. You can see what happens when you color too fast and now your orange is mixing in with your blue. Well, that's all right. So we get a nice soft transition from that blue edge into the white. I'll show it again on this side. I wet my blue and I'm almost scrubbing it off, like I'm erasing it, just to get all that pigment in the water. And then I'm going to keep brushing, not adding any more water, just making it stretch all the way over here. Clean your brush off and let it meet in the middle. A little bit of a glare, but hopefully you can see how the blue is going to get lighter and lighter and lighter until it's white in the middle. If your painting is super dry, whoops, see what happens when you don't wait for it to dry. You'll get this happening, a little bleeding. So if you wanted to put the blue effect inside of our design on the white part, you'd have to wait until it's super duper duper dry before you attempt that inside those little white L shapes. We have about a half an hour left, so I think we'll make it. Just have to be a little bit more patient, Betsy.
That's your quality, not mine, Betsy. Patience.
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 I'm going to go ahead and color in the whole handle blue. Pretend it's all in shadow. And while I have blue in my brush, I can go ahead and add in a little bit of the blue into the back of the teacup. Back of the rim here. Next, I'm going to just paint the parts of the dragon that are sticking up above the T level. And I'll go ahead and paint just the parts that are under the T. That should all be the same color. It should be a mix of that brown and, in my case, pink. While I'm waiting for that to dry, I think I'll make a little cast shadow here. If this side of the teacup is dry already, you can wet it just with plain water. I know you probably won't be able to see this until I add some color, but oh, there, it's shiny. That's good. I'm gonna just put down clean water in the shape that I want my shadow, which is just sort of an ovally shape, elliptical, something like that. I'm going to touch my wet brush to my blue pencil and just get some blue into the tip of my brush. And then I'll start painting wet in wet. And you can see it start spreading in that water immediately. I'll give you a nice feathery edge to your shadow. You can even try mixing some colors. Maybe I'll go ahead and tap on my pink pencil too and just mix in. Get some pretty purples. A little bit shiny there. I'm gonna move it over here maybe. Does that help? No, not really. You'll have to try it and see the very soft edge you get when you paint wet into wet. For some reason, I don't know why, whenever I try to draw with the pencil on wet paper, it doesn't mix. The pigment just sticks to the paper and won't move around. So you have to get your brush and touch the tip of your pencil just to pick up some of that color. And then you can drop it into the wet paper and get a nice fuzzy, soft shadow. Best case scenario, it's darker in color near the teacup and then gets lighter as it goes away. Oh, we're doing great on time. We might be able to ink.
Mine
Within
definitely
clumps.
needs ink.
Yeah,
It's
it does
really
get kind of
just-
blobby
Yeah.
if the colors are similar.
And also, it's just a brush. Regular brush is big. I guess I need a
Yes.
teeny tiny brush.
Yes, this is true also.
Made all kinds of fancy little details on my dragon. I can't see them anymore.
Yeah.
I have to make them up again. Here, I
Yeah.
worked hard to get them the way I wanted them.
Yep.
So will you ink your cup as well?
I don't think I am. My cup's pretty well defined, except for that little blob that escaped right there. But you can. It's kind of just a matter of choice. I think I have some demos where I've inked the whole thing and only inked. Oh, that one I used a really thin pen. That one I used a thicker pen. This one I only outlined the teacup, but I didn't do the inner details.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes I do that. I think this time I'll leave the teacup alone and I'll just ink the dragon. Just about 12 minutes left. And we'll share our teacup dragons. I'm adding another layer of tea color over my dragon, but again, I can't color with my pencil. I have to use my brush. And then let it flow right off of my brush. Just about 8 minutes left. Just 5 more minutes. Just 2 more minutes. If you're already finished, of course, you can just hold it up to the camera and go get your dinner 2 minutes early.
I have to wait and see if
One more minute. And don't forget to sign your work.
well,
So we know who drew it.
my lost lines create a bit of a problem because I
Oh,
didn't
let's
quite
see. Let me spotlight
connect.
for everybody.
Oh, that's cool.
Ooh, that gold effect though on that pattern.
The
That's
gold
What
worked
looks like
pretty well,
gold.
but his tail,
Woo-hoo.
I got his back and tail all screwed up. They
Oh.
don't connect right, but don't look at that.
Oh yeah, we're too mesmerized by the gold. Yeah.
How that
There we go.
Lovely. Who's next? Stephanie's. Let me put Stephanie up.
Ooh,
I'm using
Ooh.
a brush, so I don't know. I think I like my pencils better.
You like your pencils better? Still, the colors are
I'm gonna
nice.
ink first next time.
Oh, you could try that too. Yeah.
Well, because I lost some of my lines totally under the
Oh,
drawing
right,
pad.
right. Let's see Callista's.
All right, go.
Oh,
Let's
it's
go.
always
Look
so
at that
cute.
little. He's a tiny little dragon.
I know, so cute.
Baby Yoda the dragon. All right, here we go.
Let's see. Let's see one. Ooh.
Oh,
Nice
excellent.
design.
Look at those. They're horns. Is that what those? The tall
Yeah.
Those are great
Yeah, the
horns.
horns. Nice twisty horns.
You got the twist in there just perfect.
Excellent, everybody. Alrighty, that's it for this week. If I don't see you Friday, I will see you in February already. I cannot believe it.
Very.
What's Friday? What's Friday again?
Friday is going to be Frozen. We're doing the guy, the ice pick guy, Kristoff. We're doing Kristoff from Frozen, and we're going to be doing Dungeons and Dragons after that.
Okay, guys.
I'll see
All
you.
right, see you
Bye,
Friday or
guys.
next week. Bye.